long time since we've done anything like this. What is it? Almost over a year.
Just about.
Um, and I don't mean just the three of us together. I mean like in total. Tom and I haven't done a single. I don't even think we've been on anybody else's channel in a year.
Usually, you got to pay for that kind of action, Cotton.
Mm. It's expensive. It's expensive.
Pepper needs a new pair of shorts.
Ouch, cow population, you bro.
Yeah. So here's what we're doing. It was pretty interesting how the universe comes together. Obviously, everybody knows that I know both of these cats from multiple veins of life, but and these cats both know each other pretty well, but neither of them talk to each other, and all of a sudden, both of them discuss doing this in the same week without talking to each other, and both of them in a conversation with me solo. So I got a call from Tom, and we had a conversation, and we're like, "Oh, we should be doing this." And normally we have the conversation where it's like, "Oh shit, yeah, we should be doing this." And then Jordan calls me and says, "Yo, what's up with the stream?" I said, "Yep, yeah, okay." So we're gonna get back to it, but Tom had a great idea of keeping us all on track, and we're not gonna do that on this episode. But what we're going to do for the foreseeable future is actually hold everything to a half hour increment. So we're going to take one subject and we're going to do a half hour. And then we're going to live stream another subject for another half hour. And of course, we're going to go, meander through and hit the rabbit hole. But the other thing that we're going to do is as soon as we can get this to a point where we really feel it's going to flourish, the one addition I've always wanted to add is a basically man on the street, get all of the people that are involved in the chat into this podcast. I don't think there's enough actual interaction. Right now, that shit is being sold as super chats and shit like that, where people could just put in 140 characters. No, I want to get actual people on this podcast and talk shit. So we'd like to do a half hour of one subject, a half hour of another subject, and then go for 45 minutes talking about those two subjects or a previous subject in the final 45 minutes. So that being said, hey, how y'all doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Look at this. This guy's
sexy.
So we got one guy that's got like fucking accolades on his wall and shit. And another guy
I thought I might as well turn around.
Fucking guitarists always just hanging their dicks out of their shorts. Look at this.
Should I go grab a guitar?
I got a clock and a freaking like thing of my family over here. You guys have accolades and guitars and shit. You cunts are all the same.
Here, Tom. Here's my newest acquire. I think you might appreciate it.
Is it a Steinberg?
Yeah, dude.
Nice. A real is that a real Steinberg?
Yep, Gibson acquired them a while back, so now I had to get one fresh.
Fucking sweet. Is that brand new or is that an old?
Brand new off the factory line, yeah.
Oh, dude, that is cool as shit.
And it's a lefty. When are you ever going to see a lefty Steinberger? How about that?
Holy crap.
So I'll keep mine out while we're talking today. I saw your guitar. I was like, why not?
Oh, it's nice to have the guitar in your hands when you.
That's what yeah. Sorry.
So this is gonna be the first and last episode we do. You cunts. Hey, Tom, where'd you get that hat? Gibson? Jesus, what is this, sponsored?
We are sponsored by Gibson.
Yeah, only a Gibson.
Only a Gibson is good enough, my friend.
That's the way it is.
Or a Steinberger, the innovation of sound.
Oh my God! If I could sell out to any company, it would be DW, not Gibson.
Well, from a drummer's perspective, that makes sense.
All right. Music aside, we were going to talk about the structure of everything. I think I laid everything out pretty well. What do you guys actually think about said structure. There's a couple of things I didn't talk about, like what platforms we're going to run on and live stream right off the bat, and what we want to do. But
Do we have
your
to watch what we
guys'
say? We're probably gonna have to
what's
watch
that?
what we say. We're gonna have to watch what we say, aren't we?
No, because that's why we wanna go pretty heavy on Rumble. I think as soon as we can get, it's only 25 followers on Rumble, and again, that's a brand new channel over there. So
So
as soon as we get to 25, we go
uncensored, is what you're saying.
live, and we're uncensored. We do whatever the hell we want
So we're censored until 25 followers, and then after that we can
on Rumble. After that, that's it. And to be honest with you, I'm gonna do what I can. So I don't think it'll be long. That was probably the number one reason why Tom and I really fell off was A, censorship, and B, who the fuck knew what was going to happen? I mean, this was well before Elon took over Twitter, and everybody has seen the effect that had. So if if memory serves, we were really in the pit of despair as we were trying to do this. And obviously, talking to a couple of cats like Rice and everybody else, they're still having a really hard time if they're YouTube centric. So,
well, it sounds like Rice is still having a hard time, but it seems like he's doing all right, and there's enough outlets now.
He's doing well. Yeah,
it's it's painstaking. It's like anything else.
It's just why? Yeah, so why spend the time building something? Building your community on something that's just going to kill you, and you're going to have to rebuild it later. I mean, and it kind of seems like that was their whole, fucking bitch wajiki. That was the whole goal in the first place, right? Was to just, try to be, yeah.
No, so at the end of the day, all we want to make sure is when we're doing these things, as long as it's accessible and people can access it, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Whether they hate it or not, or whether they love it or not, doesn't really matter.
That's the beauty of the consent of the governed, is just getting it to the people, right. Uncensored, unfiltered, the way it should be.
Right, and so this right now is going live on YouTube and Twitter, and it's been so long. I'm sure that nobody is seeing this whatsoever, and I'm actually looking at the deal right here. It tells me that nobody is seeing this right now.
Well, no one's showing yet. Yeah.
Well, we decided to do this 2 hours ago.
Last
there's
second
been
impulse.
nothing. Like I haven't, but that's the other thing about technology, right? So I was able to put this whole thing together in a matter of about less than 2 hours. I had to take care of the baby and do all sorts of shit, right? Cook dinner. I mean, we're talking like 15 minutes. I can go live and pretty seamlessly. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of like too much craziness. And I'm actually shocked. I was worried about trying to like boost this thing and send out a link and do all of that stuff. And this is really good as a test to be able to say, oh yeah, you could put it to here, here, and here, live stream this on, something I've never run before. This is, perfect. So what a good test. And one of the main things we had a problem with in the past was none of us really have the time to edit a bunch of shit and then toss it up on the web and call it good. But yeah, hell, let's get it out there and call it good. Tommy, Lil PP. What do you what do you think regarding any format issues? You good?
No, we're good. We just gotta stay on topic, man. You know how hard that shit is when we get talking.
Yeah, that is a big thing. You people like don't like stay scatterbrained. They like to hear the hard questions being asked.
and specifically the
I know it might be hard for little PP, but we can get them hard.
Ain't nothing difficult for little PP.
Well, and especially the TikTok mindset now. I mean, if you actually think about the last time we actually streamed, it was well before the birth of TikTok. I mean, I'm still going back to it, going like, holy shit, are you serious? Year?
I think the last
what has happened in a year?
The last episode y'all did was what, 2020?
It was a year ago at least, yeah. I mean, we can go and look at it. I can take a look.
I think let me check too. I think the last actual podcast episode we even aired was like even during lockdown. It was something like that.
Dude, it wasn't that long after. I mean, I think we were talking about, the stick, the jab. We were calling it all sorts of things. So
let's see. Last episode I have here is May 20th, 2021. Robert Michael.
Oh yeah. So a little less than a year. No shit. Almost 2 years.
2 years.
Okay. Holy shit.
Yeah, man.
How long it's been since we've done anything?
That was the last episode I had released on at least podcast. I don't know if you guys had done any live streaming besides that, but yeah.
Oh, dude. That's some wild shit.
Now, is this acting as an episode, or are we just doing a test run here? What is this?
This is actually both. No, this is both. So this will automatically live stream to YouTube, and then it will automatically put itself on Rumble. So it just won't live stream on Rumble. Yeah.
Every episode though, Tom. Every like 5 or 10 minutes, you have to switch a guitar. you just gotta keep switching guitars throughout the whole thing.
No, if this is the way that's gonna go, I ain't having it. No.
Also, he pulls out a double neck, and he's just like, playing fucking sonnets.
Unless this dude gets a guitar tech. And the guitar tech is coming in and putting a new guitar on him. That's the only way I'm good with this. Like that's the only way.
That is fantastic. Oh my god.
No, yeah, dude, you can play whatever you want. But yeah. So we're already 12 minutes into this.
So we should probably dive into some topics then, yeah.
And we wanted to start talking some bullshit, right?
We should.
So getting back into these streams, Jordan called me and was like, dude, what the fuck's up with this balloon thing? And Jordan and I talk an awful lot, but I was actually talking to a lot of other people in the fam, and everybody was like, what the fuck is going on with this balloon thing? And that's typically when I know like, something else is definitely going on in the background. But I want to hear, I want to hear Jordan discuss, his whole thing. Like, what the fuck? Like, what prompted you to just send me a text message like, holy shit? And then I know the conversation I had with Tom was ridiculously good, because he brought some things in, from his dad's point of view and a bunch of other people. So anyway, yeah, Jordan, fire away.
We spent some time talking about this too a couple days ago, but it's such a. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say it's like, oh, it's such a fascinating situation. I think for me it was like, when that first hit, I was doing my thing when and all of a sudden I picked up my phone and I'm like, what the hell is this all about? And and I think the one that really threw me off is how much people were freaking out about it. Because I'm like, first off, I'm like, the first thought that ran my mind was, okay, it's a fucking balloon. Who gives a flying shit? And then, sorry, can we curse? Or is that not good? Okay. So like that was my first thought. Then I noticed that how more exaggerated it was getting, drawn out. And then like seeing like family members, who don't ever post social media things, they're talking about it. I'm like, okay, maybe there's some validity to this. Maybe I should check it out. So I started reading up on it. And to me, the ultimate thing was, okay, maybe this is just a fucking spy balloon or a weather balloon, whatever it is. Who cares? It's not the end of the world. And then the reason why I ended up calling you was because the more I read into it, the more I was starting to read it, I was like, okay, well, maybe there is some validity that this was like a surveillance balloon that like China was like, hey, we're going to do this just to flaunt our flaunt our dicks basically and going, hey, this is who we are, and we just got into United States airspace. And then, we had that conversation of there could be a lot of things going on here, and there's always something more to the picture than is actually being posted about. And we all agree with that here. I would say all of us really agree that there's always more to the agenda than that's being said. And then I think today, when we, right before we decided to have this conversation, then there was a whole thing that another one was shot down in Alaska. And it's like, okay, so now are we just shooting things out of the sky for just the sake of, going to war, or not even that, maybe just the sake of just doing this to appease people? Or what the hell is going on, and why are, for the first time in probably God knows how long, why are we shooting things out of American airspace?
And I would like to interject there and give my 2 cents on what you just said. And that being, there's definitely something more, mischievous and mysterious and sinister going on in the background. And what is this a big nothing burger? Could be in conjunction with, possibly the U.S. Space Force kind of just putting the kibosh on maybe some of the inside individuals that now no longer have access to different forms of technologies, espionage, spying, satellites, things like that, that maybe they have to use this. Maybe it was a distraction for something else. I mean, at this point, man, to really, I couldn't tell you if it's, if it's this or that, but I know it's definitely a distraction from something else. And what they're telling us is not the truth. Now, could this be one of our own? Very well could have. Or could it could be somebody, like I said, an individual, in government right now, or a group of individuals that no longer have the capabilities that they did before. I mean, dude, since this presidency, we have seen nothing but smoke and mirrors. I mean, dude, like, you never see the president in the fucking White House. Things are never what they seem. Now, they find these fucking classified documents now. Who found these classified? Well, and apparently they found them back in November. And what are these classified documents? Just fucking tell us. And then they say, well, we found 1,850 boxes of classified documents. 1,850 boxes? Man, that would like pack up my entire house. Like, you couldn't fit 1,850 fucking document boxes in my basement, man. So, it's like everything that's happening right now, and especially this, which is just like, oh, it's a threat. It's a Chinese balloon. How the fuck did you know it was a Chinese balloon? What the fuck are the Chinese using a fucking balloon for? Trying to fucking
hold on. So I've had conversations with the both of you regarding this, and the one thing that I will say is that it's the one thing that I don't think enough people do all the time, and is just think logically and be patient, right? And if we all thought logically and we were all patient about this whole thing, if we started doing that since JFK was assassinated, we'd be all right. But instead, we're having this conversation where who the fuck's balloon is flying over us? Like, we don't even know if it's ours, right? So imagine back in the day, I know Tom will understand this, when you got that poster of a, fucking Lamborghini Countach or the SR-71.
The white Lamborghini Countach?
Oh, yeah. Or the SR-71 Blackbird, right? So when we found out about that, all of a sudden, that was in the 80s, and that thing was leaking fuel on tarmac in 1950s. Like, that thing was already flying around, and it was legitimately, it was classified for 30 years, So I always think about that, and I go, so if all of a sudden we know we have spy shit fucking everywhere, why the fuck do you need a balloon? Seriously, you need a fucking balloon? Like, that's like, I would expect if somebody was going to spy on us, and like any country in the world, it's like, maybe who would use a balloon? Fucking Nigeria. Like somebody really like they.
But Eric,
who,
Eric,
who the fuck can launch a satellite
but the
and
thing
then
is,
need a balloon? Like get the no.
but then it comes into that conversation of why. I mean, obviously, I'm going to answer my own question in this statement, but then why would China, take the blame for it and say, yeah, it was ours? Well, then it's like, oh yeah, because then you answer it going,
no.
Well, because any time that somebody makes a mistake in America, China or Russia is going to be the first one to say, that was us.
Oh, that was me.
Let's go.
Yeah, that was us.
Let's go after the same. So let's.
My bad.
Let's go. So let's go after the same train of thought, right? So let's say that somebody wanted to take blame for something, but wasn't actually like the ones who actually did it, right? Wouldn't you just do it in the first place? I mean,
I agree.
That thing is cheap in the grand scheme of things. As far as China's concerned, that thing is cheap as shit. And you could just release that thing and be. Honestly, I honestly believe that China was like, there's no fucking way that they're going to let that balloon go. And then all of a sudden they're like, holy fuck, they let that balloon go. And maybe they released another one, maybe not, but something, got shot. All I'm saying is we have no fucking clue what was going on. And in the first time in a long time, I'm really glad because that means that our intelligence capabilities, the Pentagon, the White House, none of them have any fucking clue what the hell is going on. And
but
this is the first time in a long time. I'm very happy about it.
With all of this, Xi can't take a piss without us knowing about it.
It's true.
You would think.
None of this is why none of this makes sense. And everybody's just trying trying to point the finger and say, what's this? It's this. You don't fucking know.
No clue.
You'll come around and say, like, well, I can pinpoint points anywhere in the whole fucking world and you're fucked and you can never hide.
But,
and somebody can launch up a fucking... Dude, I can't buy a combination for explosive materials and not be put on a watch list.
Not only that, your license plate is readable from a satellite. Why the fuck do you need that?
But Tom made a good point.
Nazis that they caught, these Nazis, they were going to shoot down the power grid, man. How the fuck? These random fucking Nazis, we're going to take down the power grid because we don't like the Jews.
But,
they can find these people in the middle of nowhere, but, this guy, somebody
shoots a balloon out there. Yeah.
Giant balloon, we don't know where the fuck it came from.
But Tom made a really valid point in his first statement, and I think we need to go back to it here, is... you guys said this too in one of your episodes, in one of the podcast episodes, and I implore anyone who watches to go back and listen to it. But there was something that Tom said that literally answered this whole question. Is since the beginning of the Biden presidency, it's been nothing but smoke and mirrors. And now, Eric, you said in one episode, you're like, name me a time in presidential history of the United States where there was there was a lesser turnout to an inauguration than Joe Biden's. Name me one. Name me one. Where, we've had voting contestants for sure. We've had contested elections that made no sense for sure. But since this, like, name me another time, and I will rest my case on that. But like, I think it's.
Or every time he speaks, they got to put up fences around the White House.
Yeah, like
what the fuck,
dude. Did you guys just miss the State of the Union?
Oh, I watched
24 million people watched it. So you were part of 24 million people.
I heard it was 27 million, but still the lowest of the low.
Well, yeah,
and he was getting heckled and heckled and heckled by the Republicans. But at the same time, it's like, look, he wants to do all these things, but guess what? It's not going to happen because the Republicans are going to turn it down in the House.
So here's the deal. We keep moving from one point to another, right? And that's one of the things that we did not want to do on this next.
But it all ties together.
What's more important than the actual incident of the whole balloon situation is just what we're talking about. It's just another smoke and mirrors, man. What is this a distraction of?
Yeah, exactly.
So here's my case in point. I was talking to Jordan earlier today, and I said, "Well, is this really Chinese?" And all of a sudden, there's an open-ended question: Is it Chinese? Like nobody still knows. They were talking about it, and then all of a sudden, what happens? You end up finding, English writing all over components of this thing, and then it's like, well, can you trust the outlet that leaked the photos of the components and blah blah blah? And in my opinion, what we're going through right now is going to be more to like trusting your gut, right? Individually trusting your gut to get you through at least this next 2 years. And I've said this on all of our live streams, at least for the last, at least the whole time we've been doing live streams is trust your gut, because this idea of looking at like, oh my God, they shot the balloon down and it was Chinese. Well, are you sure? And then all of a sudden, oh, it goes down and then there's English writing on it. Well, are you sure? Like, did you see that for yourself? And trust, not verify, needs to be the like credo of the American public right now. And if it's not, then
verify, not trust.
What's that?
Verify.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
Verify, not trust. Right before it was trust, not verify. Yeah, verify, not trust. And that leads me to the reason why I wanted to do this preemptively. I'm getting so much like data, and when I say data, I take in a lot of like podcasts.
You mean like the character from Star Trek?
Yes. I see a lot of motherfuckers wearing a visor.
He's paying attention. You worry.
Yeah. I see a lot of guys wearing the visor. That works. But a lot of talk about crypto and not like the SBF thing. So I'm leaning towards this idea that this whole balloon thing and a lot of other things are just the smoke and mirrors to get us away from the main. They would like us to think that it's not main. It's just this small little thing that's happening over in the corner, right? Especially right now during tax time and everything else. The crypto thing has, in my opinion, blown up. I've been almost every episode of Joe Rogan talking about crypto, and crypto is not a thing that happens on the Joe Rogan, experience. That is not a thing, and everybody is talking about not just the fraud of Sam Bankman-Fried and everything that happened with.
Need to be talking
Alameda.
about that fraud and where that money went and what they were using those funds for, and who the players that were involved in that situation. Because this was the problem. This was the problem. Nobody wanted the big players and the manipulators inside the crypto market. They didn't want them. And look at what they did. We saw them do this in real time, Sully. Crash down the market, spread the FUD, buy in as much as fucking possible, and then all of a sudden you have these seedy organizations pop up like the fucking FTX fucking exchange. And look at what happened. Look at what they did. They just utilized that money to launder, they utilized that particular exchange to launder tax dollars from the American people that we were throwing over into the Ukraine back into the fucking pocketbooks of politicians. And this is just one of the things that was going on. And we see this distraction of the balloon. One more distraction.
This is what I'm talking about. For every distraction, I've seen in what I would call, just because it's my team, a white hat and black hat operation in every single one of these things, right? So I'm a huge crypto fan. I like crypto. I like what it's doing.
I like crypto. I own a little of it. I would like to own some more.
Yeah.
I need to get on that boat too.
And you've seen how they're utilizing this, like every good crisis, like should never go to waste. So you're actually noticing how they take this thing and run with it in a certain direction. No matter what hat they wear, the white hats would say, oh, look at all this stuff. They're, laundering money. It's just like Ukraine. They're laundering money, and, we should shut this down. Well, that also works for the other side, right? So this idea of 4 and 5D chess works both ways, right? So it seems like we're all sitting there just reading the cliff notes on this story and trying to figure out what the hell's going on, while everybody else is reading the actual pages. And those people that are involved are the people that are, best way I've seen it explained is the other day. Congress had everybody from Twitter in front of them, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, yeah. And all of a sudden you're looking and that these people are asking, some of these people are asking questions that aren't from the Twitter files. They are not from the Twitter files. Like, there is zero evidence from the Twitter files from some of the shit that these people are asking in Congress. Somebody has gotten notes on that shit. And if you're paying enough attention, you can look at it and go, holy shit, I'm reading the cliff notes. These fools are getting the report, And I think we're starting to zero in where the cliff notes on the side of the page are starting to zero in on the center of the page and become the entire story. And I think that's what everybody's feeling. But it's just me. I mean, it's what I'm feeling in my own heart. And I think that's why everybody's so confused right now, because they're just getting squeezed.
There's a lot, and Eric, with that too, there's a lot happening right now that I think everyone's trying to piece a lot of things together. That's why I'm also trying to keep a very cautious but yet optimistic view on what's going on right now, because you think about it. One, you go on your Google, you type in your news, wherever you get your news, and the first thing you see is, Vladimir Putin's walking around with his, the guy who holds his nuke codes, and then, does this mean the war is changing? And then all of a sudden the next thing is, because of this balloon, China and U.S. tensions, blah blah blah. They're gonna start piecing everything together, and I think because we're living in an age of false news, and it's so hard to really understand what is real and what is not real, what's really happening, what's not really happening. Yeah. And I think that's why there is a lot of confusion with this weather balloon. People think they're taking it more seriously because, but that's a whole different topic for another day of, well, does the internet need to be regulated? Does it not need to be regulated? And because at this point, some people are reading this going, oh my God, Putin's getting ready to drop a nuclear bomb on Ukraine, which means he's going to wipe out all of Europe. That could probably be the farthest thing from the truth right now. Or it could be real. And you think Kim Jong-un over in North Korea, he's telling his people to prepare for war. He's been saying that for 20 fucking years. And
his dad was saying that for 20 years prior, man.
Exactly. And he's grooming his daughter apparently to be his successor. And who the fuck knows if she's going to end up, following his footsteps. She's going to be like, fuck it, I like democracy. No one knows. And I think that's why
are we living in this? Why are we living in this fucking vein of fear?
I think people live in a vein of fear because they want a reason to have fear.
Well, it's a completely artificial. It totally is, and it's completely artificially created because they can use it. And like you said, they want it. They want to be afraid because they can utilize that. They can use it as an excuse. Why aren't you here? Look at what's happening around me. Dude, I use it every day. I mean, dude, I'm not trying to use it as an excuse to be lazy, but I use it as an excuse for motivation. Like, what's the fucking point? It's the fucking point when this is what we have to look forward to.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, if this is going to draw out for another 20 years, man, fuck me. I don't want to deal with this shit.
I agree,
man.
It's
already been drawn out for decades upon decades. I think I'm upset, and I'm my patience is thin. Think about my dad. He's been feeling this twice as long as I have. And look at it, go, fuck, it's not over yet. Fuck, it's not over yet.
and all these fools that have just woken up in the last 2 years are sitting there going like, When is this gonna?
Cold War Part
When's
4.
something gonna happen? If you've been paying
When's the
attention
fucking?
for the last 25 years, holy
When's the
shit.
happenings? When's the happenings? Well, you know what? Make it happen yourself. That's the thing, and that's the one thing that I've gotten pissed off about all this stuff. And we can sit there and go like, oh well, what's the solution and everything? No, for God's sakes, just make your life better in any way, shape, or form. Just go to sleep thankful. That's
Just
it.
stop
Like,
watching the
do-
news.
Just stop watching the news. One
Stop
thing, just
watching
do
the news.
just do one thing today and do another thing tomorrow. Like,
And guess
it's
what?
not that hard.
And if a bomb drops on the United States tomorrow, straight
Why
up,
do you
we have-
care? You're
Well,
probably
first off,
dead.
there's nothing you can do. One, there's nothing you can do. Two, it's over your head. And three, do you really want to if it's gotten that far to where someone could drop a nuke on the United States? First off, like Tom said earlier, no one in this world can take a piss without the United States government knowing. So if there's a bomb being dropped, first off, our problems are way worse than we think they are. And at that point, do you want to live in a post-apocalyptic Terminator-style fucking world? I mean, yeah, I'd love to be John Connor, but do I actually want to grow up there, like wake up the next day and be him? Maybe not. You know?
No, not really. I would.
Yeah,
I would
come on now.
You know.
Hey, but here's the thing.
I just want to interject real quick here, and this really goes into a much deeper subject. But you know, when I was saying, you know, what's the point? It's like, you know, really, what's the point of life? I mean, you know, if you look at it from a religious standpoint, the whole point of life is to learn and to, you know, be good to other people and you know, just be a good person and spread the good word, I guess.
And go off to another world.
It's not about possessions. It's about being closer to whatever God you decide to worship or whatever that is, you know, to different religions. I don't know. So, you know, when it comes down to the end of the day, like, what's the fucking point? Like why have we developed so much anxiety and put so much pressure on these earthly things, these materialistic bullshit things, where we can be easily distracted and easily led astray and easily sucked into a digital world where we can, you know, for an entire week talk about, you know, a possible Chinese balloon that could be a complete nothing burger. And we're all just locked into these digital lives, man. And it's like, fucking break free, man. Because, dude, if your whole point of living, you know, whether you believe in reincarnation or religious or anything like that, you know, if it's to do good here, well, then why does getting ahead, you know, monetarily, financially, you
Even
know,
matter?
owning more shit and having even matter at all?
It doesn't.
Like, really, it does not matter one fucking bit.
And you're right, Tom, because then it also equates to then why does like, oh, this possible nuclear war even matter? It doesn't, because guess what? None of us decided, hey, I want to be born during the end of the world. None of us knew.
Or maybe we did. Maybe we thought, oh man,
that's true.
It's time to go back. I'm sure hoping I get to see. I mean, because this is a really exciting time to be alive. I mean, it honestly is. When have we seen this kind of progress when it comes to, you know, mass amounts of people waking up and believing things? You know, when you mention something about like, oh, you know, man, you know, HAARP targeted Turkey and fucking, you know, pulled them out of a financial disaster and caused the earthquake, people, they go, makes sense. You know, like, before they'd be like, the fuck are you talking about, you crazy fool? Now they're like, well, you know, with what I've heard about HAARP, the fact that people even know about HAARP.
Yeah.
It's like,
and they're asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and so this leads me to a very valid point what you guys just said, right? You're talking about the philosophy of life, right? Where all of a sudden you're like, well, what does this all matter? What does it all mean? And who gives a shit? I mean, when it's all said and done, do I care about these earthly possessions? And then all of a sudden everybody starts to, and I think this is the human condition, the human struggle. People like myself, as soon as you have a kid, you go, what do you mean? Like, my kid hasn't got to experience that same question you just asked yourself.
That's
right?
a fair point.
And it's gonna take 30 fucking years for him to do that. And that's when all of a sudden shit gets complicated, because there's a lot of people asking that question. I don't think enough people are legit thinking that far in the future. And I'm okay with that. I'm all right with people thinking extremely individualistically, because I think that's where humanity thrives. I think that's how we got here, is through individualistic fucking, whether they're caring about their kids or they're just caring about their next meal. That's got us here. That's been the basis of, in my opinion, human, not evolution, but human adaptation. And I still look at this and go, holy fuck, you motherfuckers are still staring at a balloon while this guy that was supposedly a 9/11 hijacker got released from Gitmo. Like, if you're gonna be like the quintessential fucking, oh, I'm gonna voice my opinion, and oh my god, I have the right to do this and this, you don't even fucking know your rights. You do me a favor and just tell me what the Bill of Rights even says, and I will fucking be glad to shoot that balloon down myself.
And you know why people are so
that's
easily...
That's why I'm getting pissed off right now, and I'm getting very upset, and I have a very hard time going even to the grocery store right now because of my lack of patience. But what I am actually finding within that lack of patience is this thing where it's like, it's not my job to teach them anymore. It's actually my job to just fucking feel bad and to just
sit back.
help anybody I can, because those people aren't going to take my help. Advice is best taken when it's won.
The biggest reason that we're in this situation is because of overabundance, man.
And social media.
Excessiveness, just in general. Like, dude, when was the last time you went hungry?
Right.
When was the last time you were truly hungry?
You went to bed hungry without food in your closet.
I was really hungry. I remember I was really hungry. We didn't have anything to eat, but we had a can of beans in the cabin, a can of baked beans.
Right.
And I was like, I don't think I ate for like a day and a half or 2 days. And I was just like, oh man, I am fucking starving. And that can of beans tasted so good. We split it between like 3 people. Anyways, but that's part of the problem. We've always had 3 meals. We've always had enough food. We've always had enough distraction, enough entertainment. I mean, Jesus, dude.
Real problems are not a part of us right now, like America. America doesn't know true, genuine, real problems.
Like, dude, I'm living in a digital world, man.
Me too.
And it's driving me insane. I can't deal with it any longer.
And I am a material girl.
But the other reason why
and I am a material girl.
The other thing too is social media, I think, is giving way too many idiots. I'm going to say that is they gave them way too many idiots a platform to speak their mind, and because of algorithms and because of things like that,
disagree.
Hear me out. Has given people the belief that they think they're right, even though because with what Facebook does, especially if you've ever seen the Social Dilemma documentary, if Facebook found a way, Instagram, Twitter, you name them, all of them found a way to get their algorithm to make you think you're always right about everything. And that's why people are so stern on their decisions. Like, this is why I am right. I know I'm right because people back me. People say these things.
Statement is that not enough people have been punched in the fucking mouth.
Exactly.
I mean, dude, you know what? I said a lot of stupid things, and I got hit in the face.
It's true. Not enough people have gotten punched in the face.
After a while, you learn not to say that stupid shit,
or just learn to accept differences.
Cowards, I'm going to say whatever, and I'm going to do this and be a bully, and nobody's going to. No, dude, you say that shit in a bar, man. Back in the late '90s, you get popped in the mouth. You say that at a house party, you get popped in the face. You make an inappropriate comment about somebody's girlfriend, you expect some repercussions. And that's the big problem about social media. Is
I think
Also,
no. It's not about social media. It's about the banking industry. It's about credit cards. It's about everything.
well,
Where all of a sudden, no, there's no consequences for your actions, and that's the best thing you could possibly do.
You're 100%
get
right there. You're 100%.
It's the best
right
thing you could possibly do to get
And
a fucking population to be out just fucking crazy.
Yeah, but
is to
that's
just make sure.
Herein lies the problem. That's the system. It encourages this kind of behavior.
It encourages the lack of integrity.
From the top down. Look at the fucking federal government. What are they going to do? We got to vote to raise the debt ceiling. Why do you
from
have
the top down
debt ceiling if you're just going to fucking keep on raising it? Knock it the
it's
fuck
not
off.
a ceiling. It's not a ceiling.
But if you don't have fiscal responsibility, how do you expect me to have it? And how do you expect me to justify fucking paying you taxes that I don't even have any say where they go? And
print my taxes. Print my taxes, motherfucker.
You guys are right.
Herein lies the problem, though. It's like this whole society, this whole system that people were indoctrinated into throughout grade school, throughout high school, especially throughout college, is promoting this irresponsible behavior.
Yep. And I know what Jordan. I know exactly what Jordan's going to come in with, because he is probably exactly 10 years younger than us, and he's got a totally different mindset on this. And I think that everybody, and I talk to him about this all the time, and I think that everybody his age feels differently about this point because they have been socially engineered the same way as we have, Tom. Socially engineered in a long scale, but they were just placed differently within that scale. And Jordan, say your piece, because I know where you're going with this. I love it.
The only thing I was going to say is, like, it, everything you guys are saying is accurate, but it does come down, it all bustles down to one human flaw that everywhere is having this problem with, and it does involve with social media, is that nobody in this world can just agree to disagree. Ever. And you think about it, when's the last time you got into a hardcore debate or saw a hardcore debate on, even if it's off of social media? I'm talking like in a bar. I was actually at a bar once where this happened, where two people were so gung-ho that they are right about something. They can't just go, you know what? Agree to disagree. We'll move on from that conversation. Let's go have a beer and talk about something else.
Actually, most people I see argue the same point, whether on social media or not.
Exactly.
And it was actually why I was going to bring you in, was completely different from that point, but it's very similar to the point that I was actually thinking, was that I thought you'd come in with, holy shit, I can't afford X, Y, and Z, and I am fucked because of X, Y, and Z because I'm X years younger.
Well, I guess if I may, that part, I think at this point, a lot of my generation, I'm not going to speak for a group, but a lot of people I've talked to.
No, you need to speak for your entire generation right here.
At this point, I think because of where at least where I've grown up is, like, I guess I'm considered a millennial. I don't know, but we've grown up where we did have a childhood before the digital age, and then we got the digital age, and because of social media, like you said, there's no repercussions with banks. There's no this and that. My actual generation could give a flying fuck about credit. We don't care at this point if we're paying till we die, because guess what? We have been so forced into this world where we don't have money. No one has money. And my generation is never going to be able to put money away because we can't find jobs that will allow us to have money to put away. We're paying just to get by at this point. Even if you go to take a big job and, it's like, okay, guess what? We've accepted that at this point. And that's the problem with
And this is where I would like to leave our next segment right there at that point, because there's two things that can be gained from that one statement right there. How the fuck are you supposed to regain a social credit system like they want to do to us? How are you supposed to build that off of people who don't give a fuck about credit?
Exactly.
And then is there actually a way? And I think there is. I actually think there is a way to do it. And I'm very hopeful that your age and a little below you guys see through it. And I would love to have this be a subject on the next one. But yeah, go ahead, Tom.
Let me just throw this out there, though. This is a big problem. This is a problem.
The big problem.
When I talk about lack of motivation,
I brought up crypto,
but when you talk about, Jordan, how you feel and how you've just accepted this fact, and this is the way it's going to be, and how does that encourage fucking entrepreneurship? How does that encourage motivation? How does that encourage somebody to work harder? It's like, fuck you, I'm not going to make it anyways. What the fuck? I can't buy a fucking house. You guys can't afford jack shit. Look at how fucking expensive shit is.
Well, so again, Tom,
I had to buy a house right now. I couldn't do it. I couldn't fucking do it.
So Tom, how do you build a social credit system off of that mentality?
Well, Eric,
how hard is that? How fucking hard would that be?
Eric, at this point,
your spirit, man. They already broke your spirit.
You are right.
There you go. With that. You just said it. That's my point. They broke your fucking spirit.
But
right?
Eric, they haven't.
They have to do it first.
They haven't though, because
and that's my other point.
Here's the reason why: because we don't give a flying fuck about it. We have nothing to lose, so we will do anything we want to do. That's why.
That's right.
Yes.
That is fucking right.
And that's where the hope is at. That is where the hope is at.
In my opinion, the reason why I'm the most optimistic motherfucker in the world about all this stuff is because there's at least one or two things that are being taken for granted in this plan to just grind us into dust. Is the fact that we're harder than the utility that you're using to try and grind us. Mm-hmm. You can't kill me because I've already killed myself, motherfucker.
And I got nothing left to lose, so I'm going to do whatever the fuck it is I want to do. Exactly, and that's the millennial mindset right there.
But that's the American mindset, and the millennials don't even notice it yet, and they're just on the brink of noticing it. You can't kill me because I've already killed myself, motherfucker.
Exactly.
I'm dead inside, and at least like to the point where I don't know where the fuck I'm going next, which means that if I have to go up your ass all the way to your heart, stop that, and then destroy your brain and pull it out your ass, I'll go back home right out your ass with all of that shit in my fist. And that's
what makes them dangerous. In a good way.
And that's the thing. Everybody wanted to talk shit about people your age and people even younger than you. And I looked at them and I said, you know how hungry these motherfuckers are? These are the people that are growing. Well, no, these are the people that are growing up at hard times. And I'm the person that grew up in very easy times, but understood that I got like squashed. You know, I think Tom and I were the beginning parts of being squashed. You guys had it really easy right off the get-go and then got squashed afterwards, which is even harder.
Yep.
And then your parents didn't like do the things that they should because they got squashed. So I'm you know, I'll turn a new leaf on the idea that you know, in my opinion, the next greatest generation is not just you guys for like carrying the torch. As far as Jordan, you know, you're going to carry the torch a little bit, and then all of a sudden the generation right after you, they're gonna have to be some hard motherfuckers, and we're gonna be looked at just like I look at my mom or anybody else. Like, why the fuck would you buy that? Like, what the fuck does credit matter? Like, what the hell? They're gonna be looked at some soft ass motherfuckers. Tom and I look at each other. We're like, oh, dude, we're hard as shit. No, I think you, like your generation in the next 10 years and the two generations behind you, ooh, you motherfuckers are going to be hard as shit. And we're going to be looking at you guys.
Kids now growing up, like, look at your son. You look at your son who plays with a tablet. He's going to know how to put together. He's going to know how to put together a computer by the time he's like 20. And you think about it, we were 20, we were still trying to figure out fucking AIM worked. You know, it's like, yeah, oh, you guys maybe, but for me, I was a little more computer savvy, I guess, at 20.
I'm so fucking optimistic. I mean, even though these motherfuckers can't like
computer savvy for a while.
No, I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like that. Yeah, it just meaning like but in general, like like you think about it, like our parents' age bracket, they couldn't even open up a fucking email, you know. And we, you know, you guys were teaching me, my generation, how the internet
Yeah.
worked, how the internet ran.
Yeah.
And then like now you know, even your generation, when it came into the digital age, you know, I feel like your generation really kind of, all right, this is the standard. This is going to be the blueprint. This is what's going to happen.
I think we're
is there's still not enough people like that understand like how things work.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, there's a few, but I mean, when you get down to the nitty gritty and the electrons of it all, like on what's actually going on, too many like of the younger generation, I would have to say, are just, well, this is the way it is.
Yeah.
Well, what if that wasn't the way it was?
No, you're right. There is that variable too. Yeah.
And they're so used to like, I mean, dude, I gotta tell you, man. I mean, compared to like where my instructors had it, you know, where they I mean, they had to deal with punch cards and shit like that.
Yeah.
You know? But these people are so used to this that if you take away that fancy,
Yep.
you're gonna throw out an old school term, WYSIWYG interface. What you see, what you get.
Yep.
That used to be a common terminology back in the late 90s, early 2000s. But you take that away, man, and they don't understand what the fuck is going on.
Oh, imagine my generation right now. I'm saying like my generation under us, if you got rid of Facebook and social media tomorrow, if you got to work and you actually had to, computers weren't available.
Yeah.
You had to do this all manual. I'm telling you right now, society would have a fucking meltdown. An absolute meltdown.
Hold on. So you guys, I don't think, and that might be where all my optimism comes from. Like, we are a legitimately adaptable fucking species. Like humans, if Jordan, you're wearing a hoodie right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I took you into the desert, the last thing you do is continue to wear that hoodie, right?
You're right. I'd take it right off.
Right. Because you're hot. But would you leave it behind? No.
No, you'd use it for
carry
whatever
it
you
with
need.
you because you'd use it for whatever you. So you're an adaptable species, right? So the idea that all of a sudden it's like, oh, we get rid of Facebook and then society dies. No. You get rid of that thing and then all of a sudden, so what? Like your new toy is a stick and a wheel? You know, your new toy is a paddle and a ball.
You make a fair point. But Eric,
I think that's I think that's exactly what social engineering has wanted us to think, is that as soon as we take this from you, you will die, right? It's always this fear mentality. If we don't do this for you, you die, so you need us. And that idea of I will pull this away from you and you will die is the one thing that has gotten us to this point. Now, if you turn off a whole section of society from electricity or the internet, I'm sure that they're going to have a really hard time. It's not going to be fun. But you know what? I think it will thrive when it's all said and done. Probably better than, I wouldn't say better, but I mean, fuck, you could still find people in the Amazon that don't have electricity. You know, like it's not that bad.
I mean,
it's not that bad.
No, you're right. But at the same time, I think what I was kind of generally referring to was like the average, I guess I wouldn't say average free thinking person, but like the average, person who lives in like modern society who doesn't think about these things, who is dependent on, like, let's talk about like people who, who are dependent on a system like Instagram, that's where they get their, self-respect from. Like, oh,
well, they're just going to need to be slapped in the face.
Yeah, but maybe a lot of them are. But this goes to that whole thing of like maybe they're just not ready to be pulled out of the matrix. That's really what it is.
This is part of the problem too, though, Sully. This is an addiction.
Exactly.
I have an incredibly addictive personality, and I've done lots of drugs in my day. But I can.
I've seen it. Yeah. I've seen it.
but see, I can also recognize an addiction too. I mean, I just because of my job, I spend tons of time in front of the screen, and instead of constantly looking at progress bars or what have you, whatever I'm doing, remote work, stupid shit, emails, taking breaks and looking at 30 different, independent news, sites trying to get the latest and greatest from something. Dude, it is reprogramming your brain. It is an addiction. And imagine what it's doing to a developing child's mind.
Exactly.
I can't even imagine.
Maybe that's a topic for the next episode.
This is something that I'm cognitive. I'm aware. I'm aware it's happening, and I can feel it happening. And I gotta get away from the screen, man. Right?
I agree.
I'm the same way. Once they were, a year old, every time they got, they needed this distraction, they were handed a phone or a tablet.
Exactly.
And all of a sudden, and this is why you have TikTok being so popular. These kids can't focus on anything more than 30
attention
seconds
span.
for a minute and a half. And the problem is it's hurting adults too, because it's doing the same thing.
Hey, let me tell you guys, let me tell you this. As somebody that watches an 8-month-old child all the time, it's not a TV that does it. It's not a TV that does it.
It's the action.
No, it's just repetitive, actual nuclear family giving attention all the time to that kid and just doing the things that are need to be done, watching their movements. Like that kid watches your face, which was one of the reasons why the masks were so big with the COVID thing, is it takes away the face of other people and the humanity. And the same goes for parents. Like if you take the parent away and you just send them off to daycare, 8 hours a day, all of a sudden they're at home with a stranger, right? Where they're supposed to be the most safe. They're in their crib. They're waking up with that stranger every day. Like that's a huge thing. So I'll say this: my kid is fucking straight ADD, like crazy. He wants one toy and then goes to the next. It's not about that. It's not about the ADD-ness of moving around and grabbing the one thing to the next, because that's actually natural. The one thing that's not natural is, having 3 or 4 or 5 different people watching them throughout the day that they're not always around. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
just my thing.
Right on, man.
Yeah, man. I guess we could open up with that with another statement. I guess in the next episode.
Agreed.
Killer,
So,
how about that?
Approved.
What a chat! What a chat!
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Next time we do this, you sons of bitches bring out one guitar. You sons of bitches bring out one guitar.
Time, man.
Hey, here's the deal. One intro, one outro. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not. It's not my show. I'm not making the rules. I don't give a fuck. You guys can do what you want.
I think we need to also look into this though, where like something like a topic of where the balloon turns out to be more of a deeper societal problem. I think we're going to run into a lot of this stuff that we talk about, as this is really what's going on.
Oh yeah,
where we're going to end up with a lot of conversations. But I know it's really cool to talk to you, Cats, man. It's been a while.
Yeah, man, no kidding.
Yep,
it's been fun. I hope. Hey, if you guys want to keep doing stuff like this, I'm more than happy to keep coming on.
Hey, you know what they say about doing things like this? Just keep doing it. If you build it, they will.
Absolutely.
All right, guys.
Hey,
it's been fun.